Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome David Pentecost.
Hi, everybody. I'm here representing the Lower East Side Girls Club, and I don't have a game to show specifically. What I'm going to talk about is a project, a platform, and a proposal that I have for you folks. Just to give you a little background, the Lower East Side Girls Club is just about to complete construction on a 30,000 square foot community science, art, and environmental center in the Lower East Side, and it includes a planetarium. So I started thinking about this a few years ago, and I wanted to get started on working in a hemisphere before we built the planetarium. I have to apologize, I'm going to run through these slides really quickly. I'll be back in the arcade area doing demos if you want to follow up. So I'm just going to cut to the chase first. I have a little mini dome that's an acrylic dome, a do-it-yourself fisheye lens, and a 1080p projector. For astronomy in this thing, which I'm not doing because we'll have professional astronomy software, you could use Stellarium if you wanted to build a little home planetarium of your own. For creating content, we're working with the Unity game engine and a software fisheye lens you can download from the internet for free. Another way you can do this is with DSLR photography. You can shoot fisheye lens photographs that unwrap and surround the viewer once they're projected in the dome. I'd like to start out asking the question, can we change our view? I had to change my view from 20 years of working as a video editor, television editor. We're used to looking at a rectangle. Our sight is more like an ellipse, but in fact our experience is a hemisphere around us above the ground plane. So how do we get there? Here's a little story of how we're getting there. We started with an empty lot on Avenue D. Most of my story here is in the real world, it's not in the virtual world. We're building a building that has frontage on D, 7th Street and 8th Street. And it faces the housing projects, which a lot of our girls live in. 2 years right now, this photograph was taken a couple of weeks ago. The building is there. In a couple of months, we began putting in the planetarium, recording studio, a number of other things. And we've got a theme here, I like to think anyway, curved aluminum. A few years ago, we bought a 58 Airstream trailer, and it had a nice 50s interior, which most Airstream people are crazy about. I just wanted to get rid of it. This is on the eve of destruction. That's me getting ready to strip everything out, soda blasted, hoisted into the second floor of the building, and it's ready to convert to a recording studio. It's sitting there now. I just think that's cool. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about today. Okay, but where does that circular view come in? Let's get back to the track here. 30-foot digital full dome theater. Using a single fisheye projector in the middle. We're at a sweet spot where you can still do that. You don't have to have multiple projectors and split the image and blend it and do all of that. I wanted to make it as simple to operate as possible, also as simple to pump any kind of visualization into it. No, it's not this kind, the old optical kind of instrument. Everything now is going digital, which gives you a lot more capability with astronomy flying through the universe, and as you'll see, gives you some capability to do interactive gaming. So here's some images from a show called Maya Skies, just to kind of give you an idea of what's been done with pre-rendered dome content. this is the direction I didn't want to go in. I didn't want to have to build a render farm. I didn't want to tell the girls that I'm teaching after school, well, we'll come back in 2 weeks and see what your frames look like. We wanted real-time, rapid prototyping on this. So the planetarium, here's the, it's advanced a little farther. It actually has walls now, but this is the 2-story room where the 30-foot planetarium is going to go. But as I say, we had to build a mini-dome. This was my first sketch of the workstation. The National Endowment for the Humanities, Office of Digital Humanities, gave us a Digital Humanities Startup Grant, and I think we have an NEH representative here today. I hope so. I'm giving them the credit for pulling this thing together. They took a chance on us to invent this crazy thing. Here are girls carrying the acrylic dome when we first got it in. It's a little hard to see here, a little dark, but this is the idea. I had it hanging from the ceiling and the walls and the studio. Yesterday, a couple of volunteers helped me move this thing, and we struggled a little to suspend it, but it's there, it's working. I can show it to you. A normal projector and a do-it-yourself fisheye lens, which normally would be the most expensive part of a setup like this. It's put together with 2 DSLR lenses back-to-back, completely the wrong way to use them, but it's what makes this whole system less than $10,000. There's another shot of the lens, 2 lenses back-to-back. Another shot, how it's mounted, pretty crudely. If I was a machinist, I could do a better job. So here's looking at the laptop in front of you and what the view in the dome looks like. Here's another view. This is the demo, an environment that you can walk around in that I have running on the dome out there, and I'll explain more about this. This is based on a real-world mural garden that the Girls Club put together of women heroes. It's in a community garden on First Street. So the Unity game engine is what I'm using. Many of you are probably familiar with this. This is what the Unity demo boot camp looks like in a fisheye lens. One of the first things we did was, well, that slide almost made it converted to PowerPoint. Was for the Big Read NEA, Emily Dickinson, we did a unit on that. We created Emily by a model of her house that we pulled off the Google 3D warehouse. And basically you just walk through her garden and you read poems floating. And I thought this was pretty boring, pretty basic, but when we showed it to school kids, they went crazy about it and they loved to run around even though it was poetry. Who knew? Here's a little demo, a recreation of the BAM, the Brooklyn Academy of Music Theater, with Emily and some of the 3D characters that we created in a class with the girls. Another dome experiment we did, you might have seen it at Maker Faire, was Girlzilla, giant robot girl with a glowing rear projected eye. And it's mounted on a motorized wheelchair so you can drive it around. Now, that was a little scary, but it made a big hit at Maker Faire. And we were on Martha Stewart. That was odd. So how does this warping for the dome work? If you want to do this yourself, the goal is to turn the normal rectangular view into a 180-degree fisheye view. And the pioneers of doing this in software are Paul Bork, it's his lens that I'm using in the demo, and some other folks from a company that we're buying our projector for the big planetarium from. It's called the Illuminati. So they came up with another general purpose software warping system that works in other programs besides Unity. So Paul Bork, if you Google Bork plus Unity iDome or get in touch with me, I can point you in the direction to download this. It's just a package you can bring into Unity. Bork's big contribution to small domes and to what he called the iDome, which is a hemisphere up on its side, so you're looking into it, is this spherical mirror projection. It's a simpler way in some ways than having a fisheye lens. And one of his inspirations was this crazy German installation that I think was actually built where they bounced it off a sphere in the top of the dome. These are just examples of how you can bounce a projector off a section of a hemispheric mirror, like a security mirror you'd see coming around a corner in a hallway. So this is Bork's iDome, this vertical dome, which would be preferable for gaming, probably, but I'm building a planetarium, so I'm putting mine up above. If you tilt the dome, the way most planetariums are built these days, you can get a foreground area, and it still surrounds you all around you. It takes multiple cameras combined into a hemispheric mesh and then shot with another camera. There's a performance hit in Unity to do this, but if you manage it, you still get good frame rates. I'm not very good at optimizing yet, but you'll see. I'm hoping you folks will help us. Bork has all of that. This mentions Illuminati. The Illuminati folks also have something called a portal. They had a cave art exhibit. So there's a lot of stuff that you can do with this immersive. This is actually a game that kids use a game controller and move through and play games with the cave art. Here's some other exhibits of how they use it. Here's a simulator, another simulator shot. So I'm just trying to get you guys thinking hemispherical. Another way to do this is with equirectangular photographs, which are 360-degree photographs. You can find these on Flickr. You can shoot them yourself and stitch them together. Map this inside a sphere and put the point of view inside, and you're inside the photograph. I had some time lapses. You can use these to create QuickTime VR. My time lapses didn't survive the transfer to PowerPoint. I can show them to you on my laptop if you come out. And so I'm just gonna have to go quickly through some of these. You'll see this Women Who Changed the World exhibit out in the whatever we're calling that, the arcade. So where do we want to go with this? Dome-to-dome gaming. This is my megalomania. I'm hoping that you'll help think up games that would be interesting to play in domes, and over the next 10 years, we hook up with other domers, other gamers, and have dome-to-dome gaming. So jump in and help. If you can think of, thank you. If you can think of a game you'd like to play in a planetarium, it's easy to do this, to put a fisheye lens on Unity and make any game projectable in a planetarium. Our place we're calling the Center for Community. Come over and see us, Avenue D between 7th and 8th Street, the Lower East Side Girls Club, girlsclub.org, and that's my information, dave.pentecost@gmail.com. I hope some of you jump in and think about hemispheres. Thanks.